Okay, we're ready.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Town of Ledyard Town Council Community Relations Committee regular meeting for April 21st, 6:30 p.m. It's a remote meeting. Going to do a roll call. Present is Councilor Soms, Councilor Ingalls. Also here is Councilor McGrattan, Administrative Assistant Roxanne Marr, and I notice we do have a town resident, Nicole Cruz Glacken. Sorry if I destroy your name. Are there any citizen comments?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Nicole.
I guess there's more of a question. So in your last public information forum, I heard that the Ledyard Prevention Coalition, as well as the Juvenile Review Board, has had cultural competence training and has also hosted social justice speakers. And I was wondering if the Community Relations Committee was looking into or would be willing to host something like that for the community.
I don't see a reason why it's not some. I don't see a reason why it's something we couldn't do on social justice. And bear with me. So we have a group of, right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to put together informationals, is what we're driving right now. So it's something that we could do. My hope is for the next round to be just moving through the social services side of what the town provides before we move to go to doing a social justice series. Okay, and that's just so the first thing we want to do is make sure everybody understands what the services are they can get from the town. And then from that, I understand the idea of the educational part, and then we can do something with the educational part. But this is the first goal here. It's my goal, should I say, is to move first through all the informational side and then move to other issues. Because part of the issue, because we've kind of brought this up from my perspective was we do have, there was an issue that took place with people getting services. Okay, so we want to first address those services, and then we can move on to other issues. Okay, we've got it's going to be here for, we're going to be here for a while, but we're figuring maybe 2 more public forums, and that could be one of a workshop can be part of that. Okay, so it's definitely on the table. Okay, and we greatly appreciate bringing that back up because it was discussed at the last meeting. But at this point right now, the next thing I want to do is I want to get through the last bit of services relative to fire, medical, and say town nurses, and then move on to the next thing. But it's not something that's been pushed off. It's just we're trying to work through a process here. But thank you.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have some suggestions for the committee that might drag that schedule out a little bit longer.
Go ahead.
So I'm wondering maybe if we could try and do everything. So let me drag it out a little longer first. I think it would be a really good idea if we had a session on Ledyard VNA, because we really want to promote VNA because it is revenue positive and it's one of the best VNA organizations in the country. And few people know that. So I'd like to see us offer up a session on that. I think we should be offering up our senior center. I think we should have people talk about Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec was my first experience with the community of Ledyard, and I was blown away by how many people participate as volunteers. And then we had the fire companies and also public works. So that's a lot of sessions. So I'm wondering maybe if we could do more sessions and also try to fit in this training idea that Ms. Cruz-Glacken came up with.
Yes.
Because we spend a lot of our meetings preparing for the sessions. And I think we really could squeeze a little bit more in if we talked about it.
No, I agree completely. It's funny when you said the VNA, because when I say town nurses, I thought that the VNA, isn't that our town nurses?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the Ledyard Regional Visiting Nurse Association.
Thank you. So we can do is we can formulate a schedule on, part of this will be, I think we can get everything, it's granted, it does draw things out, but I think we can hit all the things that we talked about, the things that Nicole brought up. We can set up for, I'm gonna call this some soft, we'll talk about this, we get into the agenda, the workshop portion of it.
Okay.
We'll
All right,
expand on
thank
that there.
Thank you.
Okay. Just to kind of stay on task. We want to do a review and approval of prior minutes. Is there a motion to approve the following regular meeting minutes of March 17th and the public information form of April 7th, 2021?
So moved.
Moved by Psalms, Councilor Psalms, seconded by Councilor Ingalls.
No comments or edits.
Okay, no comments or edits. Thank you.
Yep, none
Thank you. I'll do a roll call really quick. Councilor Psalms,
Present.
Aye,
Roll
present.
call, or are you calling for the vote?
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
vote.
I'm sorry for calling for a vote on the motion.
Yes.
Yes. And Councilor Ingalls,
Yes.
Councilor Washington votes yes. That's 3-4. No abstentions, no nays. Motion passes. Old business. Continued discussion and possible action regarding the drafting of a letter to the mayor regarding the inclusion of a footnote on appropriate town documents regarding the delivery of town services. I don't know if we talked about this. I don't know if everybody had a chance to take another quick look at it.
Didn't we send this letter?
No,
Nope.
I came up with something I was struggling with.
We're taking one more bite at the apple. I know
Yeah,
it seems,
sorry.
That's okay. Oh, now I remember, Bill.
Okay, so I finally found the document. So Roxanne said she would take another look at it. And it now says, be it resolved that the Ledyard Town Council reaffirms that residents living within the town of Ledyard are entitled to services as provided by the town, adopted by the town council. Plain and simple. I thought the original wording left it open when we said services for which they qualify. It really just didn't say anything, because it begs the question, well, what do they qualify for? And this says they qualify for services that are provided by the town, period.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So you want this sentence to end after our work confirmed that the Ledyard residents are entitled to town services, period.
Okay, so I'm looking at a draft resolution, Roxanne.
there
No.
was a secondary,
This is a letter.
We were
It's
gonna
not a
do it.
resolution.
we were going to do away with the resolution, just go to the
Oh,
letter
shoot.
and ask
Okay.
the mayor to incorporate this into documents and policies within the town
All
as
right.
appropriate. We weren't going to direct the actual location, but making sure it was included in all the places that provide services to the residents of the town.
Okay, I looked
The
at the
letter-
wrong thing.
The screen,
Yeah, I
I'm
can't.
sharing-
Yeah, it's too small. The font's too small, so I'm looking at the document, Roxanne.
No, I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Okay. It's addressed to Dear Mayor Allen. As you are aware, the Community Relations Committee has been discussing the subject of the delivery of town services to Ledyard residents, period. In researching a concern that was brought to light, the committee met with town staff, community volunteers, and our Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation neighbors. Oh, sorry about that. For some reason, I'm losing, my tablet's about to die. Our work confirmed that all Ledyard residents are entitled to town services for which they qualify. This finding and our discussions regarding this matter have been documented in the Community Relations Committee meeting minutes between the period of September 2nd, 2020 to April 21st, 2021, in our letter to the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation dated November 17th, 2020. In an effort to provide clarity concerning town services, the Community Relations Committee respectfully recommends that a footnote to this effect be included on town documents as such, documents such as bylaws, policies, and or procedures as you and your staff deem appropriate. As we work to close out this matter, the committee would appreciate if you would follow up with us regarding the action taken to implement this recommendation. Should you have any questions regarding the Community Relations Committee's suggestions or would like to discuss this matter further, please do not hesitate to contact me or the members of the committee. Respectfully, Michael Washington, Committee Chair.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill, you sound unsure. What's up?
Yeah, I'm still trying to read it. I'm trying to see what the footnote says. So, oh, so a footnote to the effect. All right, so we're not telling them what to say, right?
No.
All right, I'm good with that.
Okay, give me, I have a power problem.
Poor Mike.
I cannot wait to go back to in-person meetings. This is driving me
I
bonkers.
hear you. Sorry about this. I'm trying to get the, it's telling me I'm about to die. I don't know why. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Now the phone just went off. I have no idea what's going on here. Okay, can anybody?
Can I take this letter down or you want to look at it
Yep,
some more?
nope, you can take the letter down. So at this point, I'd like to, do we want it, can we do this by consensus or do we want to do it by a motion? Right, do we have to do this by a motion?
It's up to you.
I'd like to do it by consensus. Do I have a consensus from the committee chair, from the committee members?
Members? Sure,
Yes.
I like it.
Okay, by consensus, we will adopt sending the letter to the mayor for his use. Now, item number 2, which is continue to review and discuss objectives and goals. And one of our objectives and goals is trying to provide information to the town residents. And so I think at this point, we're trying to do more. We're trying to do more of the public forums and community workshops. So I think we're doing well on our goals. I think that it's an ongoing effort to find things we're going to present. So with that, I want to go to continued discussion regarding the community workshops and the schedule. And the reason I want to jump right into that is we talked about the fire and the medical, the Ledyard V&A, the senior center, Parks and Rec,
Public Works.
Public Works.
Mhm.
We also, it was brought up on having a workshop concerning social justice, or have somebody come in and talk about social justice.
If we're gonna, I'd like to propose the counter then. If we're gonna bring in someone to talk about social justice, I'd like to bring in the counter perspective on that, because this is a serious issue. And I think both sides would need to be presented.
Yes, I've got to, in cultural inclusion. I've got to wrap bear with me, and I've got to wrap my head around parts of that. I understand exactly seeing exactly what we would be presenting relative to social justice. I've got to wrap my head around exactly what that would be. I actually would reach out. I'd probably reach out to our friend over Youth Services to see what they did and get an idea of how what they're presenting. Because if they're presenting it and they videotaped it, it's gonna be problematic. It's not gonna make a lot of sense to me. to if it's recorded, if it's available to people to review. It's a case of, well, direct people to see a document or video if it's, you know, if we recorded it, if we recorded a meeting and it has all, and it presents it, I'm not a big fan of replicating something over and over again if it's readily available within the town. You know.
So I thought the question was whether we could use the training that was provided to one of the organizations within the town. Could we present that to this group? I didn't think it was a workshop. I thought it was training.
Nicole, I'm going to ask her a question. Could you be kind enough to, you talked about, was that a training process for the committee, or is that a town workshop you were thinking about, a curiosity?
Well, I know that, which one is it? I believe the Ledger Prevention Coalition said they do a lot of training on cultural competency. And then it was, I'm sorry, is her name Kate from the Youth and
Yes.
Social Services Board?
Yep.
Who said that the Juvenile Review Board had brought in a speaker that spoke on social justice. So I was just asking if either one of those things were on the table, either for, you know, maybe a both and thing where counselors are taking part in that, and it is also something that community members can join. And, you know, maybe if there's a Q&A session, you know, or not, just the general idea if you guys were going to address anything along those lines and host something like that.
I think I think we'll get there at some point. The goal was, I'll step back again. The goal is to try and get, as part of the community relations, getting people to understand the services that they have. I want to talk to Kate personally on what was presented on the training, and to see if it's appropriate for the council, for the committee directly, or is it something that's really it's a more of a town issue, a town services issue, because it doesn't do it. I'll be blunt. You're sitting here, you're looking at 6 people, okay, total. And so the idea is, what's the best way to get the largest group of people to see the audience we can get on an issue. And I'm not sure if this is the right forum. So I want to talk to Kate. And then the question is, wanted to see what we're trying to pull from that, because if it's a full council thing, then something to take a look at, in the sense of asking the council if they'd want to be invited to participate or just listen in on when we have one of the meetings. I just want to wrap my head around it to make sure, because I think what you're really alluding to would be something relative to having the council as a whole get training in that aspect through what Kate was doing.
Well, I think that ultimately, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not taking over your meeting.
No, I'm just, I want to know.
Yes, I would hope that eventually that would be something that would occur, because, I mean, we don't live in a bubble. We all know what we're living through right now. And it's happening in this moment. And I'm sure lots of people are having different conversations and have different perspectives and experiences that they bring to the table. And I feel like this is a very relevant conversation that, you know, people need to be having. And as town councilors, you know, anywhere in this country right now, I don't think it's ever a bad idea to really get to, you know, the heart of, you know, what is happening right now.
No, let's see where we can get into the schedule. Okay, I understand. I've got a good idea what the issues. I think it's something that we're going to get to. So we'll figure out for the council, for the committee, we'll figure out how this how everything fits into the schedule. I want to get some information for Kate. I want to talk to Kate. I want to see exactly what she presented and how it fits best in this form, or if it's, or if it should be in a different type of form. It should be not a, should it be a, just a, just an open forum, unlike having the fire or medical, where it's a, where it's a, someone's just delivering information and telling us what the services are, versus a kind of a training session. It's a different type of, it's a different type of animal from a training session versus meeting with the fire department, police department, VNA, the social services. It's not really a discussion when we're meeting with social services. It's not really a discussion meeting with the police. They were giving us their information, how they operate. And that's a little bit different than what we're doing with the bulk of these. The bulk of these are operational things. This is more of a, an open forum discussion, expansion of thought. So I've got to figure out how this fits in to where we're going to be at. So it'll take me a little bit, won't take a long time, just going to take a little bit for me to wrap my head around it so I can bring it back and get it back to the committee. So that being said, I'm a firm believer in low-hanging fruit, okay? When I say that, I mean in the sense of it's easy to set something up with, to get the fire marshals, get the fire marshal and the Ledyard VNA to come in for the next round. And then the following round gives enough time to take a look at the issue on the social justice and cultural inclusion, that portion, cultural competence, looking at that, getting, I personally need to view what was done with Kate so I can figure out how it fits in, you know, just so the delivery will be right. Because right now all we're doing is providing information, and that's more of a discussion. Okay, so I know that probably doesn't answer your question fully, but I think what we're looking, what that is a discussion, and what we're doing right now is just trying to get people to understand what the services are in the town, so they will come and hopefully start pulling those services. And when they start pulling the services, the goal is that they're going to feel very invited when they take the services, and that's part of the step. First, got to tell them what the services are, and then have them feel invited when they come to get the services. Good deal. Okay, that being said, does anybody take an exception to trying to schedule? I want to do one of the ones we talked about before, looking at the cultural competence and the cultural inclusion portion of it. We can either do something with Parks and Rec and the Senior Center as a joint group, because that's something we have for the seniors in town and the youth in town that catches them both in the same apple. Or we try and put together the fire, the medical, and the leisure nurses as a group, or the public services. I don't want to make it too long, but I don't think their presentations are going to be overly long for those between the fire and the medical and the VNA. I'm not sure. It may take an hour and a half. Do a 20-minute run with each one of them. I know the last time we did it, I know I'm capitalizing a lot of discussion here, but the last time we did it with the social services, that only took about an hour for all three groups to run. You know, and then a little bit of discussion. Might have gone a little over an hour at worst. Does anybody, the counselors, any preference?
My thought is that just based on the questions that I think we tend to hear, I think Public Works would probably answer a lot more questions quickly.
So
I don't think there's a wrong answer. I just think people have more questions about the way Public Works operates. From trash to roadways.
Yeah, all we have to say is come learn about trash and we'll have 100 people.
okay, so my suggestion would be that we'll get a hold of Public Works. We don't have to push a month out for Public Works, see if we can get Steve Maslin to see if he can come and talk on Public Works in a month. That'll be the target. And that opens up, provides time to come back and talk about the cultural competence, get an idea from Kate exactly what that presentation they put together when they did that for Ledge Light. Does that make sense?
So are you talking about May 29th for Public Works? I mean, May 19th for Public Works?
Bear with me one
Or May
second.
5th?
I know it's, bear with me. I gotta pull my calendar up, so. Oh. So yeah, seeing we could do something for May 19th. Well, that would open us up in the meantime to be able to figure out if what we want to do, if and what we want to do with cultural competence and social. See, get a hold of Kate, see who they use and what that discussion was. And I can get some information from Kate and bring it back to the committee before then. So my plan is, so on the 19th, what we're going to do, I'm just going to throw it out there. On the 19th of May, the goal will be to have Steve Maslin come, somebody from Public Works come forward, be Steve Maslin or the foreman, okay? And that buys us time to have a discussion. Hopefully I can have something back for the 5th to talk about the cultural competence, what Kate talked about, and we can have that discussion beginning next month, and that'll buy time to see what's good for something the following month. That's a thought process.
Mhm.
You know, we have to, you know, we'll see what we got and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
What-
that sounds good. So we're looking a few more months out to set a date for an actual in the next informational session, right? So
Well, right, because
we're
the
going
idea
to try
would
to
be-
do 2 more this calendar year, right?
Yep.
So are we aiming for August-ish, July or August?
Well, I'm
I think
hoping,
you were saying May 19th for Public Works.
I was gonna see if I get, if Public
Is
Works
that
can
just
pull it off.
I thought that you meant that was a preliminary to have just Steve come talk to us
Oh.
and,
I was gonna ask Steve if he can put something together, get a hold of Steve and see if he can put something together for the 19th, because we could do if we, well, you know what though? If we make the 2nd of June, that doesn't fall into anything with like an election or anything, does it? Anybody? No, I don't think it does. So if we have Steve, get a hold of Steve, see if he can actually do a presentation for this 2nd of June as informational, but provide the kind of a walkthrough by the 19th. Okay, then it gives us time to, on the 15th, I can get a hold of Kate and talk with Kate on what her presentation was. And that sets us up for something in July or early August. That way you can take care of the Public Works part and then potentially go through and do something with the cultural competence and the social justice portion of it. Because that's going to be a much longer discussion. It's not going to be, I don't see it being this short, a short discussion like with the other one.
So you're saying May 5th, you would come back and talk to us about what you found out from Kate.
Correct.
And the 19th, Steve would come and we'd talk to him about what he would present on June 2nd, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then that would set us up. So on the 5th, based on discussion, that could set us up for doing something as early as early July. Well, the 7th of July is there's the 7th of July. So we could plug a couple more in there. We'll see, you know, so sometime in July, we could do something with what comes back with Kate, depending on what we feel is appropriate. That's as a thought.
All right. So here's my recommendation. I think if you propose a schedule, Mike, just lay the whole thing out with dates. Then we can look at it and say, okay, no, you know, argue, do whatever we want. But I'd like to see the whole schedule laid out, because I think we're going to be at this forever if we do one at a time several months out.
Well,
know what I'm saying?
that's why with Public Works, trying to figure out, does Public Works tie in with the fire and the medical? So we do Public Works. Then I don't think if we try and burn off, the problem is trying to burn off one of these a month becomes problematic because there's not enough time for setup.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should. I'm just
No,
asking if we could put it all on paper and look at it as one document, a full
Yep,
schedule.
no. What I will put something together and get it over to Roxanne as a possible schedule. The only thing that's I want to put that would be firm is seeing if we can get Steve Maslin for the 19th of May and then do something with him on the 2nd of June. And
Agreed.
every other day,
Yeah.
nothing else is, everything else is written in pencil because not knowing what's going to happen with Kate, not knowing what take, it may or may not be appropriate for what we're going to do. This may not be the right, the form itself may be appropriate, but how it gets done may not be appropriate. And then everybody who's got to come there, because it does have to be two sides. If there's going to be a presentation on something, there is a valid, if I want to know what it's going to be.
Right,
I don't want it to be a one-sided discussion. It's got to be if people want to have a truthful discussion, then they got to be ready to take the good with the bad. So that portion needs a lot more looking into, and I'm thinking something we talk about that potentially on the 5th, and it's going to have to percolate. As you guys have seen in the past, I percolate a lot of stuff. So the only thing I'm confident is on the Public Works part, I think we could be able to hit the 19th if Steve Maslin is on board with a presentation on the 2nd of June. That would be the only thing that's still written in stone.
Yep.
Okay, so with that, we will get a hold of Steve Maslin. Of course, when I say we, I actually mean Roxanne because she's the best. To see if Steve Maslin would like to do a presentation for the council, for the committee, and with the 9th, showing up for 19 for kind of a walkthrough, and then the 2nd of June for a public forum, informational. We can post as soon as he says he's up for the 2nd. We can post the date and get ready for that. I'll chase down with Kate, get an understanding about what she did to see. I've gone to some presentations, and they've been some have been good, some haven't been good. So I want to see exactly what they did with their presentation and how it was delivered from Legislate. And I know they've done some really good stuff, so I'm interested to see what was done with them. That being said, is there any other business proper to come before the committee?
I'm good.
I don't think there's any new business. I think it's just part of our continuation with workshops we've discussed.
So are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
Yep. Second.
Motion by-
Like,
Second by Psalms. All in favor, say aye.
Hi. Time for dinner.